So the second week of the Premier League is fast approaching us now, and I'm going to give you my predictions for the matches coming up. Welcome to the Footy Network. Afternoon everybody, hope you're doing well and welcome to the Footy Network. If you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. We're nearly at 1,000 subscribers here already. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed. And get your predictions in down below. If whatever team you support, let me know what you think the scoreline will be for your team's game this weekend. As always, we're going to kick this off chronologically, and the opening match of the weekend is Brighton hosting Manchester United. Brighton, who beat Everton 3-0 last week, and Manchester United, who just about scraped past Fulham, who do struggle to Brighton. This one, I think, will go to Brighton, and I can see them winning by 2-1. Good start for them, and I expect this one to continue. What do you guys think? And then we got the 3 PM kickoffs on Saturday, and there's a few of them. And the first one up is Tottenham hosting Everton. Both need to prove something of their disastrous results last week. Everton getting stuffed by Brighton and Tottenham drawing to the new boys Leicester, which was basically like a defeat. How the hell did they not beat them? So I think both teams have a lot to prove, and I think Spurs will need to come out of the blocks here. They'll be at home in front of their home crowd, and they're going to have to put on not just a performance, but get a result. I can see this one being 3-1 to Tottenham. They've got to win this one, or Ange could already be under a lot of pressure. The next game is a Londonish derby where Crystal Palace will host West Ham United. Now, both teams lost on the opening day. Crystal Palace had a dubious goal disallowed when Eze put in a wonder of a goal over free kick. And West Ham came back in it against Villa, but lost 2-1. Villa, who of course are in the Champions League. This one's a tough one. I think this is one of the harder ones to predict this weekend. Palace have got a good manager, a decent squad, and West Ham under Lopetegui look like they've progressed on from David Moyes. I kind of feel a draw coming on this one, so I'm going to put it down as a 1-1 draw. But if I had to pick a winner, I think West Ham could just sneak this one. And then the main event of the weekend, the Tree Derby, as Forest will travel down to Southampton to face the Saints in their return back at St Mary's to the Premier League after a year's absence. And this is going to be tougher than a lot of people are predicting. Yes, Southampton play this open style, and will they look to continue that in the Premier League? Well, against Newcastle away last week, I thought they played really well. They've got ex-Forest boy Brereton Diaz in their attacking lineup as well. And Forest need to get a win here after a late equaliser from Bournemouth cost Forest 2 points. So I do expect Forest to win. This is obviously heart and head here. My head says this could be a draw, but Forest could comfortably win this one, hopefully. I'm going to go 2-0. Forest need to keep a clean sheet on this one. You guys agree or not? Let me know down below. Okay, your next 3 PM kickoff will be Fulham hosting Leicester City. Fulham, who lost very late against Manchester United, and Leicester, who won 1-1 apparently against Spurs. They're feeling a bit more pumped up, but this, I think, is going to be a really tough game for them. Steve Cooper's away record in the Premier League is atrocious, averaging 1 win a season in his time at Nottingham Forest. And this is a game where they can't just sit back and low block. I think Leicester City fans would expect and look at a Fulham game and think this is something we can get out of it. Now, Fulham have recruited in the midfield, bringing Sander Berg in from Sheffield United, and they're close to bringing in Anderson from Crystal Palace. If they were to get that signing over the line, that definitely strengthens their team. Can they get it in before the registration deadline for this week? We'll have to wait and see. But even without Anderson, I expect Fulham to have too much for Leicester City. And I can see this one being 3-1 or 3-0. I think I'm going to stick with 3-0. Okay, the bloodbath match, which is Manchester City versus Ipswich. Everyone has this down as a comfortable win. And spoiler alert, I'm going 4-1 here to Manchester City. I think that Ipswich did show good signs against Liverpool last week. They held out really well for 45 minutes, but then Liverpool just kicked into a second gear and Ipswich were welcomed back to the Premier League. Let's not forget that Man City as well were under strength when they played Chelsea and looked very comfortable in that match, winning that one 2-0. At home, at the Etihad, I expect Manchester City to run riot on this one. Ipswich, this game has probably come a bit too early for them to get that Premier League know-how, against the champions, the four-time champions. This is one step too far, or as I'm thinking, 4-1 steps too far. What do you guys think? Get your score predictions in down below. Okay, the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday will be Aston Villa against Arsenal. And for me, this is probably the pick of the matches of the weekend. I think this is going to be an interesting spectacle. Can Aston Villa continue their form from last season, having just got a good away result at West Ham? And Arsenal winning quite comfortably on their opening day of the season against Wolves. This is definitely a big test for both these teams. I think I'm going to sit on the fence on this one and go for it to be a 1-1 draw. I do like Aston Villa's squad, and I still think Arsenal need a deadly number 9. If they want to close that gap to Manchester City, why have they not gone and bought Tony or someone like that for me? Prem proven, can get the goals in, and I think that completes their team. Yes, Kai Havertz scored against Wolves, but will he have that consistency playing in that false 9 position to get them those 15 to 20 goals they need up front? And that's why I'm going for a draw on this one. If I did have to pick a winner, you'd probably say with Arsenal's defence being so rock solid, they could maybe take a 1-0 win. For this to be a draw, Villa have to score first, in my opinion. If Arsenal scored the first goal, this ends up as a 1-0 win to Arsenal, but I'm going 1 apiece. Bournemouth will host Newcastle United in the Sunday 2 p.m. kickoff. And I think Bournemouth were extremely lucky last week to get a point away at Nottingham Forest. Obviously, I say that with no bias. Newcastle, however, did not look that good against Southampton. But I still think they will start ticking together, put the squad together. I still rate Eddie Howe. And I think Newcastle will win this one 2-1. Remember this time last season, or this fixture last season, should I say, they lost to Bournemouth, and this game was a turning point for Bournemouth. So Newcastle should feel like they owe them one, because they looked atrocious that day. Yes, they had a lot of injuries, but I was very surprised with the way they performed. So I expect them to rectify this one. Do you guys agree with me on that or not? Let me know down below. The second 2 p.m. kickoff of Sunday this weekend will be Wolves hosting Chelsea. Chelsea, who's been memed all summer about the amount of players they've bought, who lost 2-0 to Manchester City last weekend on game week 1, will now travel up to the Midlands. And Wolves do not look that great at the moment in terms of their squad depth. And I think this needs to be the game where we see some Enzo ball, where we see the way he can put his stamp and start to show the style of football he wants his Chelsea players to do. I felt he was a little bit conservative against Manchester City, and that's not his style at all. I think he will look at this match and expect them to be able to dominate the possession and win this game. So I'm going to back them for a 2-1 win, and I'm going to expect Chelsea to really start to show early signs of clicking. But he needs to get that midfield balance right. I thought Lavier looked really good against Man City. I thought Enzo needs to be dropped. He doesn't look a player that's worth over 10 million, let alone 100 million. And that balance needs to be right. Can he get, though, the likes of Felix in the team, the likes of Palmer in the team, the likes of Nkuku in the team, and still find a balance? That's going to be the hard bit for Enzo going into this game. But I think they'll have enough to beat Wolves. What do you guys reckon? And then the closing game of the weekend will be at 4 p.m. on Sunday, and Liverpool will host their first opening Premier League game at Anfield, and they'll take on the scummy Brentford. Now, this game on paper looks like it should be open shut. It should be something like 3-1 is going to be my prediction to Liverpool. Because they're at home, they did well to not come back, but to open up Ipswich in that opening game last week. And I don't think that Brentford are too fussed if they take a loss here. They managed to scumbag themselves a win against Crystal Palace last weekend, so a 3-point return out of 6. And I don't think Thomas Frank would look at that unfavourably. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 Liverpool win here. And I hope they do beat Brentford. And that is your weekend fixtures. Get yours in down below. Either put your favourite team in or put all of the fixtures in there if you want. If you haven't already, please don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the Footy Network if you are new. And we'll see you on the next video. Have a good day.